Hey guys, it's Tori and we've got Aldric here. Today we're going to be going through a lower body stretch and mobility, and this is aimed to improve your squat. All right, so we're going to be mobilizing the hips. Don't look at him, we don't want to do it like that. We're going to be mobilizing the hips and then we're going to be doing a little bit of active work to try and get into a deeper position. All right, so what you're going to need for this session is going to be a yoga mat, as we have here, a broomstick, just like this, a couple of yoga blocks if you've got those available to you, or even just one is going to help, and a kettlebell. However, if you don't have access to one of these, don't worry, I'm going to give you something different to do. Okay, all right, so let's get started, Aldric and team on the screen. We're going to go onto our hands and our knees to begin, and we're just going to go through some rotations of our hip. So as you do this, I want you to plant your arms into the floor nice and strong. As well, the spine is very straight. We're going to pull one knee underneath the body, then out the side without rotating the spine. Lift that heel up, send the knee all the way around into a nice extended hip position, and then back under again. And let's go 2 reps in this direction. Coming back to neutral, and then stay on the same leg and go the other direction. Extend, out the side, pull that knee toward the elbow, then under the body. One more. And as I'm doing this, I'm really bracing down through those arms. All right, other side guys, let's go. Knee underneath the body, out the side, lift that heel, all the way around into hip extension, back underneath again. Second wrap. And back underneath, let's go and reverse the direction. Extend, pull out the side, knee up toward the elbow and underneath the body. And rep 2, all the way out the side and under the body. Good. Next up, we're going to do some 90-90 rotations. And this is, again, just to open up your internal and external rotation for your hips. So for this one, what we want to do is we want to find a 90-90 position. And what that means is when we look down, we can see right angles behind both knees, all right? From here, I want you to imagine that your front knee, which is externally rotated, is glued to the floor. And then we're gonna go and lift this rear knee up, keeping that front knee glued. Go as far apart with those knees as you can. Once you've reached your max, that's when you're allowed to go and lift that knee off the floor and transition over to the other side. And then we're gonna go back, keeping our front knee glued, lift your rear leg up. Hands can be behind as I'm doing, and then transition over. All right guys, and we're just gonna keep going there. Let's do another 6 reps total to make 4 reps per side. And every time we hit this position, start to think about sitting your butt cheek into the floor a little bit to get a bit of a capsular stretch on the rear leg. Good. I want you to think that you're moving through wet concrete as you're doing this. So the air is a lot thicker, and that's what we're imagining anyway. It's hard to move through because we're really bracing and keeping a lot of tension through our legs. Okay, and then I think we're just going this one back and then one more set, right? Cool. So last set, guys, let's go and lift that rear leg up. Pull the knees apart, all the way over into that side. And then again, keep your front knee glued, lift your rear leg up, pull the knees apart, and then all the way over. Very good. So we're going to start with a bit of a passive stretch for pigeon. Sorry, called pigeon is what I need to say. So this is where you're going to take those yoga blocks and we're going to just pop them down onto our mat. And this is going to create a little bit of an elevation for our femur, so from our knee to our hip. If you're quite flexible, you don't need to use the blocks. I think both of us are going to start on the blocks. And then if we feel we want to get rid of them, we will just pop them out, okay? So we're going to bring our knee to our hip, onto the blocks like so. I'm also trying to have my right angle in my front knee, if possible, okay? From here, we're trying to walk our back leg behind us into the most extended position we can find. And then we're going to just start to gently fold over this leg. And as we're doing this fold, I want you to think of an anterior pelvic tilt. So if I had a table, stick it out behind you as much as you can. And then a nice long spine. And we're reaching our forehead over this front shin. Your stretch should be in the hip and maybe through the hamstring of this front leg. You got that? Yeah. Great, so we're gonna just spend roughly 60 seconds hanging out in this position, taking some nice big breaths in and out. Now for anyone that is a little bit tight in this position, your option is to just bring this knee, if you want to just show us quickly, Aldric, bring your knee around a little bit, there you go, and then assume the same fold over through the hip and over that front leg, and then it's a little bit easier to access for this position. All right, so continue to breathe into your belly. Every time you breathe out, we're just attempting to try and fold into the stretch a little bit deeper. So in a moment, guys, we're gonna do a little contraction. The contraction is gonna be done with our front leg. And what we wanna do is we wanna try and keep our chest as low as we can in our best stretch while we do this contraction. So with your front foot, you're gonna be doing a downward contraction, like you're trying to push the floor away. We're gonna take a bit of a breath in, hold a bit of tension in our belly, and then at about 25% of what you think your maximum contraction down would be, you're gonna start to press your foot into the floor. And then we're slowly gonna work up to about 50%, so half of your max. Straight away, we should feel this area, as well as our hamstring, working a little bit harder. And now find about 75% of your max, and just hold that downward contraction there for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to try and pull our foot up to the sky, engaging the inside of the leg. Obviously the foot's not going to leave the floor, and then we're trying to draw our chest deeper while we pull that foot upwards. Keep going, guys, for another 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in, and then breathing out, just relaxing into this bottom position. Try not to come up and out of your stretch either. I want you to just hang here for about another 30 odd seconds. And at this point, if you want to get rid of your yoga blocks and go flat on the floor, you can. I think both of us are happy right now.
I'm happy.
It's enough of a stretch. Okay, so when we're ready, let's just use those arms and we'll gently come up and out of that position and roll off to the side of your front leg. Good. All right, and we're just going to recover for a moment in a child's pose. So just bringing your bum cheeks down onto your heels, elbows on the floor, and just wriggling those hips side to side for a minute. All right. Perfect. So when you're ready, guys, take those blocks over to the other side of your mat. And then we're going to position our femur, which is that bone in your upper leg, directly onto those blocks. As we mentioned before, Aldric is doing the modified position for anyone that feels a little tight, where he's brought that knee just to the side. For everyone else, we're just trying to go and straighten this back leg as much as we can, out behind us. Right angle in the front knee, anterior tilt, and then we're folding down. Finding our bottom position to begin. Nice big breaths in and out, relaxing into this position. And every time you breathe out, you're attempting just to melt down into the stretch a little bit more. So we're going to do our contractions in a moment. So with this front foot, We're going to be pressing it down into the floor, starting very, very gently. So let's take a bit of a breath in, Aldric. Hold some tension in your belly and start to gently press that down. It's like you're pushing the floor away. Let's work our way up to what we feel is half of our maximum, 50% of your strength. And then find about 75%. And let's hold this here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The opposite contraction, try and pull your foot up to the sky and draw your chest deeper. 9, 8. You can get lighter on the fingers here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hopefully you're lower than when you started. Did you get any more range? Yeah? I certainly did. It was good. And we're just going to relax all those contractions and hold the stretch for a little bit longer. Yeah, you're definitely lower than when you started. Alright, so walking our hands in and just gently pushing up, leaning off to the side of our front leg, guys. Alright, so again, we can just come into that child's pose for one moment. Just relax for a minute. Wiggle your hips from side to side. Okay, very nice. So for this next one, we are going to come back into our 90-90 position and we're going to work some internal rotation on our rear leg. You can use one block for this one to assist you, just on underneath the hand. So 90-90, look for the right angles behind both knees. I've got my block just on the floor behind me and I'm going to just place my hand on that block. What I want you to do is think of your sternum right here. We're going to turn our sternum back toward our rear knee. And as we do this, the hip comes back into the floor. And what you should be feeling now is a little bit of a stretch. Have you got that? Across the top of the hip. That's just the hip capsule, it's nothing to worry about. And we're just going to do a passive stretch here, guys, before we do some contractions. If you do start to feel any pain in the inside of your knee on this leg, just take the other block, pop it underneath your knee, and then continue to rotate back into the stretch. Yeah, so it might feel like it's a little bit restricted, just bring it right out, Aldrich. Yeah, toward the knee, so it's just lifted up, just like that, perfect. And it should take the strain out of the, oh, well, you didn't feel it anyway, but if you did, it should take the strain. You do feel it a bit? Okay, cool. That's good. Perfect. Yeah, worked well.
Because I crashed into a rock the other day, can you see?
Oh yeah, you got a bit of a bruise? Were you mountain biking?
I was jumping in the water and I got taken away by a wave.
Oh, okay.
Crashed into a rock.
Nice. And if this front knee lifts up, guys, don't worry about it. It's all about this back hip right now. So what we're going to do now is do a little contraction down into the floor. We're going to be pressing our foot of this rear leg down, and you should feel your hip capsule working harder when you do this. So nice tall spine, get into your best position to start, bit of a breath in, and then holding some tension, gently start to press your foot down into the floor at about 25%. You might feel this on the inside of the leg here as well. Working up to about 50% now, pressing down into the floor. And then let's find about 75% and holding that contraction there for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I want you to imagine I put a scale under your foot. I want you to try and lighten the load under on the scale, and as you do it at the same time, rotate your hip back. So I'm always trying to lift my foot off the floor and rotate back at the same time. Fighting for more and more range. Keep going there. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in. And breathe out and relax. Finding your best stretch to finish. Obviously, if you're feeling any pain in the knee, just ease off the stretch a little bit. So just rotating a little bit back out of it so that pain dissipates. Bit of a cramp. Alright, so what we're going to do is just slowly take your hand to that knee, lift it up out of that position. It might feel a bit stuck. And then the best thing to do is to get into your other side, because that is going to bring that hip into external rotation, which is a little bit of a recovery position after we have done internal rotation. Okay, so we've now got our 90-90 on our other side. We're both going to think of our sternum here, and we're going to rotate back toward our rear knee, like so. And as we do that, the glute comes back into the floor. Better on the knee. So about 60 seconds worth of a stretch, guys. Nice big breaths into the belly as you do this, and just keep sitting back into your best position. Unless you feel that knee pain, ease it off a little bit. Yeah, it's so important for hip flexion. So the reason we've thrown this one into like a squat routine is because when your hip flexes, there's internal rotation. So when you descend into the squat, there's a bit of internal rotation that occurs. So we want that to be nice and free in order to improve our squat movement pattern. Okay, so holding this position, bum back in the floor, bit of a breath in, and now we're going to just gently start to press our foot down into the floor. And if you're feeling that knee pain, just get that knee elevated slightly. Okay, working up to about 50% strength, and then finding about 75%, and let's hold that downward contraction for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Opposite contraction. You're trying to lighten the load on the floor, and you're going to try and rotate your hip further into the floor at the same time. Keep going, guys, for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, big breath in. Breathe out. And just sitting that glute into the ground. Find your best stretch to finish. So if you're doing those contractions properly, guys, you should notice that you get a little bit hot and flustered or a little bit sweaty when you do them, because you're creating quite a lot of tension through your body. All right, so let's go and take a hand to that knee. Very gently lift it up. And just for a moment, we'll just pop into that 90-90 back on the first side just to recover this hip in a little bit of external rotation. We'll just hang here for a minute. So next up, we're going to be doing a little bit of an ankle stretch. Before we start this, we will stand up. You can bring your stick along with you. And we're just going to be working through some calf raises just to warm up those ankles. So the stick is just for balance. Obviously, if you're near a wall, you can just hold onto the wall. And we're just going to keep our feet neutral to begin. And we'll go through 10 fast calf raises there. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're now going to turn our toes out to the side, kind of like a ballerina. Show me your best ballerina. Like a duck. And now we're going to do another 10 there. 9, 8, 7, 6, aren't ducks inwards? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you're going to go pigeon toed. The reason I thought that was because of pigeon toed. So we're going to point those big toes toward each other and then go there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're doing an ankle dorsiflexion stretch next up. Just pop the stick off to the side. We're gonna grab our kettlebell and we're gonna come down into a combat position. So I'm seated back on my heel like this with my knee out the side slightly. The other leg is bent, as you can see. And then I'm gonna go and take my kettlebell and pop this on top of my knee. Now we're gonna allow that knee to track forwards over the toes, and you should start to feel a stretch through your Achilles. So your Achilles, as most people would know, is this big tendon right along the back of your ankle. So Aldric, once you've found a good stretch, you're just gonna hold with that weight tracking over the toes. And now I'm going to give you the option, if you don't have the weight at home, you've got a different variation you can do on a wall. So what you would do is come over here, lean into the wall. Your foot is going to be there on the floor, and we're going to go and bend this knee until we feel that stretch down the back of the Achilles there. And that will give you a very similar stretch. Okay. So we're spending a little bit of time here doing the passive stretch first. This is to allow a little bit of range in the muscle and the tendon to relax into the position. And then we'll do the contractions, which grant us a bit more range. And then we hold again to relax into the new range of motion. Now obviously dorsiflexion, which is what Aldrich is doing right now with his right ankle, is very important to achieve a good squat. We need to have an element of dorsiflexion. Okay, so Aldrich, we're going to do a bit of contraction down with your toes. So I'm just going to explain this one rather than do it with you. So we're going to be in our best stretch, and Aldrich is going to try and push his toes down into the floor while he maintains a really good stretch. So a bit of a breath in, start to gently press down, and what you should notice is that the blood leaves your toes and the toes begin to look a little bit white.
Even with my tan, it's white.
Yeah, there you go. And then working up to what you feel is about 50% of your strength. And then finding about 75%. And as you do this, you should really feel your Achilles working quite hard. Good work. Hold it there for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now he's going to try and pull his toes up toward his shin. So he's going to pull those toes upwards and try and engage all the tissue here on the front line of the ankle. And it might be feeling a little bit crampy. Good work. Keep going for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. Take a big breath in. Breathe out, relax, and we're just spending a little bit more time in this stretch. Good work. How's it feeling?
It's good.
Yeah?
Deep.
Deep? Beautiful. All right. So very gently and slowly taking that weight off. And your ankle's gonna feel not quite the same at first. So what we're gonna do is just sit back, hold the leg up and go through some ankle circles. Try and move only your ankle rather than your rotation of the knee. Just that ankle moving. Beautiful. Okay, let's go and find the other position now, guys. So you're gonna go and sit on that heel, bring the knee outside. Your other foot comes in front, we grab our weight, we pop it on top of our knee. If you've got no weight at home, you're gonna come over to the wall. We're gonna lean into that wall. And then we're gonna go and bend the knee and bring that free foot onto the back of your shin or your calf. So roughly 60 seconds holding there. Now, if you're someone that is lacking in your range of motion in your ankle, what you can do is you can allow your heel to come off the floor. So Aldrich's got pretty adequate range, so I wouldn't tell him to do it. But if you're someone where your knee is back here and you can't quite get enough leverage to find that stretch, you're going to allow your heel to come off the ground. And what that does is it puts a little bit more weight into the Achilles, and that allows us to find a bit more of a stretch. Okay, so a bit of a breath in for both of us. We're holding some tension, and now we're going to gently press our toes down into the floor at about a 25% contraction. And building up to about 50%, find about 75, and hold there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Opposite contraction, pull your toes up toward your knee, engaging that inside line or that front line of your ankle. 9, 8, 7, your toes don't actually have to leave the floor, it's just the action of pulling them upwards. 3, 2, 1. Big breath in, breathe out, relax there for a moment. And we've just got another 20-30 seconds relaxing here. Does that side feeling okay?
Yeah. Very good
Burn?
Really warm.
Warm, yeah. Okay, let's really slowly come back out of that one. Take your weight off, and then we're just gonna go through some circles of that ankle, putting a little bit of movement back into your Achilles after it's been stretched out. We wanna shorten it back up a little bit. Okay, last thing we're gonna do for our session today, guys. Grab the sticks now, and we're just gonna pop our stick across our mat. Now, you don't have to use the stick, but it is a little option for you if you struggle to get into the bottom of your squat, just under body weight. So we're gonna take our feet a little bit wider than our hips, and then turn them slightly out to the side. Perfect, just a little bit, not too far with that right one. There you go. Okay, we're gonna do something called a kinetic squat. So with a kinetic squat, what we're gonna be trying to do is actively pull down into the bottom and then push back up, obviously. So I'm thinking about my closing angles, my closing joint angles, my hips, my knees, my ankles, the front of the ankles, the back of the knees, the front of the hips. I'm gonna try and contract them as I pull down into the squat, okay? You ready? Arms at the front, make fists. I want you to create lots of tension. We're gonna go down over about 5 seconds. So pulling down, thinking about contracting those closing angles as we pull down here. Once you get to the bottom, keeping that back nice and straight, I want you to keep pulling into your best squat, like I'm pulling my toes up, I'm pushing my knees over my toes, I'm squeezing my hip flexors. Good, and now over 5 seconds, pushing up. 5, 4, squeeze your bum, squeeze your quads. 3, 2, 1. Very good. Okay, let's do 4 more like that, guys. And of course, if you don't need the stick, you can get rid of that, okay? All right, ready? And down we go, over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. And pushing up, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Rep 3, guys. Ready? Big breath in. Pulling down. 5, 4. Think about those closing angles. 3, 2, 1. Pushing up, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo, they get hard really quick. Okay, we've got 2 more reps. Ready, lots of tension through the body. Arms out, make your fists, and let's go. Down, over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep pulling down, keep pulling down. And coming up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Okay, last rep. Arms out and pulling down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And coming up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, nice work, Aldrick. We're done.
I hope that was recording. I hope that last bit was recording.
Oh, shit.
I don't want to do that again.
I knew that.